everybody. In today's video, I wanted to give you guys some tips on how to stay safe while you're sleeping in your car. That's it. Let's just get started. So as always, I have a bunch of notes on my phone. So if you guys don't know who I am and this is like the first video that you're watching, first of all, thank you so much for clicking. But second of all, I live in my car. I live out of my car sometimes. Like sometimes I'll stay at friends' houses or family members' houses. But when I'm not doing that, I am sleeping in this car in my little Toyota, and I have all my stuff in my car. And I've slept in my car dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds and hundreds of times. And so I just wanted to give you guys some tips on how I stay safe and how you can stay safe. So I have a list of maybe like 10 or so things. So let's just like run through them. So the first one is make sure your phone is always charged. Just do that. If you need to buy a bunch of like external battery packs, do that. I obviously have a phone charger for my car, like for the little pluggy outletty thing. And so when you're sleeping, make sure that your phone is charged, like really, really charged, like super charged. And so the next thing on my list that always made me feel safe is having friends that stay up late. So I usually stay at truck stops and rest areas and things like that. And when I get there, usually it's, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and like 2 a.m. And I usually do not get scared or nervous sleeping in my car, but sometimes I do get a little bit nervous going into a rest stop in the middle of the night, having to use the restroom. I don't know why. I know that I'm completely safe. I've never ever had an issue. And so if you have any friends who stay up late, or if they're in like a different time zone than you are, it might make you feel safer to be on the phone with them or to be texting them. If you're just scared in your car, or if you're walking somewhere, if you're going into a rest area or something like that. One of my friends who always did that for me was my friend Scott. I feel like I may have mentioned him in a video or two. I kind of can't remember. He's in Nashville. There have been quite a few times, Scott, if you're watching this, I would say like a dozen times where I've just texted him I have to pee and he'll call me because he knows that that means that I'm like a little nervous and I'd rather be on the phone. And so having a friend who would do that is just something that I think might make you feel safer. Oh, and because by the way, these are generally tips that I'm giving you when you're traveling and sleeping in your car alone, because that's most of the time that I've traveled has been alone. And so that's what these tips are for, like if you're alone. Obviously they work if you're with other people too, but you just might not need as many. Like you won't need to be on the phone if you just have someone to go into the bathroom with you, you know what I mean? But anyway, so the next one is going to large truck stops where there are tons of people and light. So this makes me feel safe. I do not feel safe like sleeping in the middle of nowhere on a side street by myself where there's nobody really around. That does not make me feel safe. I feel much safer when there's a lot of people around and when there's a lot of light. And so I go to like really big truck stops. Like there's been a few times where I've gone to smaller truck stops or even just gas stations to sleep, but I generally prefer well-lit and well-populated gas stations, truck stops, rest areas, things like that. Some people would feel more comfortable if they did research before they go places. So I'm not really a planner. I think you guys know that about me. Sometimes I might have like a general idea of where I'm going or where I'm sleeping or anything like that, but a lot of the times I don't until like that day. And so the apps that I use to do my research, obviously use the internet, but then I use the Pilot app and the Loves app. Pilot is my favorite truck stop. Don't know why, just is. And Pilot is also in the same company as Flying J. And so they have an app and Loves has an app. And I'm sure that there are like tons of other truck stops apps, but those are just the ones that I use. Truck stops apps sounds weird, but anyway, those are the ones that I use. And you can either search where there are truck stops around you, and or you can make like a trip planner and they'll show you the truck stops on your way. But also you could Google, if you feel more comfortable staying at a rest area or welcome centers, you can Google those. Like if you Google where is there a rest area on 95 in North Carolina, it'll show you on the internet somewhere. And so I use these apps especially to know where you're going. It might make you feel better to plan a little bit. And also I kind of time it because it's like, okay, if I want to stop driving at 11, where is there a truck stop on the way? You know what I mean? So you can gauge how far it is or how many hours it is away from you or how many times you can stop or something like that. But then also I like to use the Pilot app. I don't know if they do this on the Loves app too. I don't remember, but the Pilot app will even tell you how big the parking lot is. But the way they don't say like, oh, this is a big one. They say how many truck parking spots they have. And so any that have over like 150 are generally the ones that will also have a lot of parking spots for cars like I have. And so there are some that only have like 30 spots. And so those, they might have enough spots for cars, but sometimes when you go to a truck stop, I hope I'm making sense. Sometimes when you go to a truck stop, if you've never been, sometimes they only have parking right in front of the building, like right in front of the little convenience store they have. I would never park there to sleep, but a lot of the truck stops, especially the bigger ones that have like 100 or 300 truck parking spots, will also have a bigger parking lot for cars so you can park away from the building. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's the research that I like to do, to see how big the truck stop is before I go there. But then again, also to see how far away it is, or to just kind of plan it out a little bit. If like, you know, you're tired, to see if there's one near you, things like that. Those two apps help me, and then you can Google like anything. So the next thing is have some kind of protection, whatever makes you feel safe. I have a few knives, I have a whistle, and I have pepper spray. But also, you know, like keep it where you can reach it kind of immediately if you have an emergency. The next one I have is act like you belong. If you act scared, people are gonna notice. And if you act like a little like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't really know where I am, people will notice. And so if someone sketchy is near you, they will notice, and you don't want that. You really wanna like blend in as much as you can and just kind of like walk with confidence, like be like, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing, I'm confident. That will just make people think that you can protect yourself or that you know what you're doing. It's just that sense of confidence will protect you a little bit. So next thing that I have is have a backup plan. So if I'm somewhere where I've never really been before or that I don't really know or kind of in the middle of nowhere, sometimes it makes me feel safer knowing where the next truck stop is. So just in case you get to a truck stop or a rest area or wherever you're sleeping, if you want to sleep at a Walmart or a hotel parking lot, wherever you want to sleep, sometimes you might get there and not feel safe there. That's happened to me a few times, not many times, but maybe like a dozen times or so. I get to a parking lot and realize it's too small or that I just don't feel safe there. So it might just make you feel safer or more comfortable if you know where the next place is or like the closest place near to where you are, just in case you have to leave. But then also, I would always recommend, if it's possible, have an extra, you know, $100, $200 in your bank for these kind of emergencies as like a just in case you feel so creeped out and you cannot find anywhere else, just in case you need to get like a motel or something as like a super just in case, because you do not want to be stranded. So just kind of plan that out a little bit. And so along the same lines, this is a very specific one, but this happened to me, so I'll just like tell you this story. What I have written is, if someone strikes up a convo in the middle of the night at a rest stop, I'd leave and find another one. This happened to me when I was driving from Columbus, Ohio, I think, to Long Island, I think, which was sometime like last spring, summer. And I think how it worked was like, I knew that there was a pilot that I was gonna stop at, but like 15 minutes before I saw the pilot, I saw a rest area and I was like, oh cool, I'm just gonna stay here. And so I went there and I stayed and I fell asleep, and then I woke up because I had to use the bathroom. And it was maybe like, it was late. It was probably like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something. And so I woke up, walked to the little building, used the restroom. And then as I walked out, a guy, I want to say he was a kid. He was probably like 24 or something. He walked right by me. Like I was walking out of the building. He was walking towards the building. And he said hi to me. And I said hi. And then I kept walking. And then he turned around and like tried to strike up a conversation with me. And at that point, I did not feel any sense of danger at all. There were a bunch of people in their cars sleeping in that parking lot like 10 feet away from me. So like I didn't feel super uneasy, but I also like had my guard up because it was like 2 a.m. and a stranger in like his 20s was talking to me who I didn't know. And so he started talking to me, blah, 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 and asked for my number, and I was like, no. And then he told me that he and his friends were at that truck stop that night to do drugs. He literally told me, he's like, yeah, we're gonna experiment tonight. I'm like, experiment with what? He's like, I think he said acid, maybe he just said drugs in general, I don't know. But I was like, what? I was like, first of all, why are you telling that to a stranger? But second of all, that made me feel incredibly nervous. I do not like drugs. I do not like to be around them. I've never even smoked weed. I've never even smoked a cigarette. I do not like to be around drugs. And so the fact that this guy told me, this stranger man told me that he was with his friends in that truck stop to do drugs, I was like, nope, I do not feel safe here. I do not feel comfortable here. So I got in my car and I left. And like I said, I knew there was a pilot like 50 minutes away, but so I went there. And so like I said, nothing bad happened. He was not sketchy. He was not being rude to me, nothing. He just happened to be there with his friends doing drugs. But again, I do not feel comfortable in situations like that. But even if that didn't happen, even if he just said hi and I kept walking and I got back to my car, I may have left anyway for the sole fact that it's that whole kind of thing of like, you want to stay hidden, but you want to also act like you belong. And so I didn't want someone to see me and know, oh, she's in that car right there, and I can just go over there and that's her car. That would not make me feel safe. I would not personally like to do that. So if anyone talked to me or even showed a little bit of interest, like if anyone was like staring at me or something, I probably would leave and go to another truck stop. So the next thing that I have is, don't tell the public where you're staying, but tell some friends or some family members. And so I personally never tell you guys or social media, I never put it on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or anything, exactly where I am when I'm sleeping. Because you don't know who's gonna see that post. You don't know who's gonna come find you. You don't know. But it might make you feel safer if you tell someone where you are. And so maybe when you get to a truck stop, you can just text one of your parents or one of your friends, just say, this is the truck stop I'm at. And then really that's it, as like a just in case emergency kind of thing. And the last thing that I wrote down is to trust your instincts. If you don't feel safe, don't stay there. Just don't. Like I said, there have been times that I've gone to truck stops and I've been like, no. And with all that planning that you've done, you know where there's another truck stop, you know where else you can go. And that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up if you did, or if you learned something, and let me know in the comments any other things that you do to feel safe when you're sleeping in your car by yourself, because I know that I've left off a few. So let me know in the comments any other things that you have to maybe help other people. You guys know that I want this to be a big community, and so anything else in the comments, like talk to each other, be friends with each other. Let's like all be best friends, all right? Did we used to become best friends? Name that movie. And subscribe if you're not already. I'm putting out videos Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And that's it. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh man, this whole video is gonna be lipstick on my teeth. Why can't I say this? There's someone walking over to me with a puppy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Bloopers, 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 bloop, 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 bloopers.
Come here, my dear, there's something that I gotta say to you, and only you, so give me your attention. Take the words right out